The early 20th century, Europe, a patchwork of powerful nations, seemed to be on the brink of a golden age. Beneath the surface, however, simmered tensions that would soon erupt with devastating consequences. Nationalism surged through Europe, breeding suspicion and rivalry between countries. European powers competed fiercely for colonies, seeking raw materials, markets and prestige. This scramble for dominance fueled tensions and created a climate of mistrust. Adding fuel to the fire was the escalating arms race. Military spending soared as nations sought to outdo each other in military might. New technologies such as the machine gun and heavy artillery promised devastating firepower. The stage was set for a conflict of unprecedented scale. Europe in the early 1900s resembled a chessboard, with each nation carefully aligning its pieces. A complex network of alliances emerged, designed to maintain a balance of power and deter aggression. Ironically, these alliances, meant to prevent war, would instead drag the continent into the abyss. The Triple Alliance united Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Italy. This bloc was countered by the Triple Entente, consisting of France, Russia, and Great Britain. These alliances created a climate of fear and suspicion. Any conflict, no matter how small, risked dragging the entire continent into war. The stage was set for a conflict that could spiral out of control. Sarajevo, a city in the Balkans, became the epicenter of global conflict in the summer of 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, arrived in Sarajevo with his wife, Sophie, on June 28th. The Archduke's visit was met with mixed reactions. Nationalist tensions ran high, particularly among Serbian nationalists who resented Austro-Hungarian rule. On that fateful day, June 28, 1914, the Archduke and his wife embarked on a motorcade procession through the streets of Sarajevo. As the motorcade made its way through the city, a young Serbian nationalist, Gavrilo Princip, seized his opportunity. Princip, a member of the Black Hand, fired 2 shots from his pistol. The shots found their mark, fatally wounding the Archduke and his wife. The assassination sent shockwaves throughout Europe and beyond. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand triggered a chain reaction that plunged Europe into the abyss of World War I. Austria-Hungary, enraged by the assassination, issued an ultimatum to Serbia, demanding satisfaction for the Archduke's murder. Serbia, backed by Russia, refused to comply fully with the ultimatum's harsh terms. Diplomacy failed, and on July 28, 1914, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. The intricate web of alliances ensured its rapid escalation. Within days, Germany declared war on Russia and France. Great Britain declared war on Germany when German troops invaded Belgium. World War I, a conflict of unprecedented scale and brutality, had begun. The war raged for 4 long years, drawing in nations from across the globe. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended the war, but its harsh terms sowed the seeds for future conflicts. The aftermath of World War I left Europe devastated. Millions lay dead, economies were shattered, and political landscapes were redrawn. The Treaty of Versailles, while intended to ensure peace, instead fostered resentment and instability. Germany, burdened by war guilt and crippling reparations, struggled to rebuild. The global economy, already reeling from the war, faced further turmoil in the 1920s. The Roaring Twenties masked deeper economic problems. Overproduction, speculation, and easy credit created an unsustainable economic bubble. When the bubble burst in 1929 with the Wall Street crash, the world was plunged into the Great Depression. Unemployment soared, businesses failed, and poverty spread like wildfire. The economic despair and political instability of the 1930s created fertile ground for the rise of dictators. The 1930s witnessed the rise of a new breed of leader, the dictator. In Germany, Adolf Hitler and his Nazi party exploited economic anxieties and resentment towards the Treaty of Versailles to seize power. Hitler's ideology, rooted in racism, anti-Semitism, and a desire for territorial expansion, posed a grave threat to world peace. In Italy, Benito Mussolini established a fascist dictatorship. Mussolini's ideology, emphasizing nationalism and militarism, found resonance in a nation grappling with economic hardship. In Japan, military leaders, driven by expansionist ambitions, gained increasing influence. These dictators challenged the existing world order. Their aggressive actions set the stage for another global conflict. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended World War I. However, the treaty, designed to prevent future wars, instead sowed the seeds of discontent and resentment. Germany, blamed for the war, faced harsh penalties, including territorial losses and crippling reparations payments. These punitive measures fueled resentment and nationalism. The treaty also redrew the map of Europe, creating new nations and adjusting borders. The League of Nations, created to maintain peace, proved ineffective. The Treaty of Versailles failed to address the underlying causes of World War I. Instead of creating a lasting peace, the treaty fostered resentment and instability. The 1930s witnessed a series of events that inexorably led the world towards another global conflict. In 1931, Japan invaded Manchuria in northeastern China. The League of Nations, unable to counter Japan's aggression, proved ineffective in maintaining peace. Emboldened by its success, Japan continued its expansionist policies in Asia. In Europe, Adolf Hitler embarked on a campaign of rearmament and territorial expansion. In 1936, German troops marched into the Rhineland. The lack of a strong response from France and Britain further emboldened Hitler. In 1938, Hitler annexed Austria into the Third Reich. The Munich Agreement, signed in September 1938, was a last-ditch attempt to avert war. The road to war, it seemed, was now inevitable. The world wars of the 20th century were cataclysmic events that shaped the course of human history. Millions perished, empires crumbled, and the global landscape was forever altered. These conflicts taught us profound lessons about the fragility of peace and the dangers of unchecked nationalism. The world wars demonstrated the devastating consequences of unchecked nationalism and militarism. The pursuit of national interests at the expense of international cooperation proved to be a dangerous path. The failure of diplomacy and the perils of appeasement were tragically evident in the events leading to both world wars. The lessons learned from these failures would shape the post-World War II world order. The world wars serve as a stark reminder of the human cost of conflict. Millions perished not only on the battlefields, but also as victims of disease, famine, and genocide. The echoes of the past urge us to build a more just and peaceful world for future generations.